Episode 7 of Euphoria Season 3 starts with a switching perspective and focusing on Ali. Growing up, he wasn't always religious, but without God, he gave in to his short-term desires. He was addicted to drugs in a bad way and quickly spiraled out of control. He lost his family after a particularly brutal night with his girlfriend, beating her in the other room while high on drugs. Even worse, their kids were at the dinner table and heard everything too. Because of his horrible relationship with drugs and how damaging it's been for him in his life, once he got clean, Ali refused all forms of drugs, including morphine. Now Ali's mindset here is fixated on atoning for his past by keeping his habits in check. Transforming his mistakes into life lessons has just become part of his character. Now Ali has made it his life mission to try and save others from the same fate he suffered from. However, many others wind up worse than he was, committing suicide or throwing themselves down a one-way street to drug-induced despair and eternal sleep. It's a reminder of how addiction often ends, and Ali even has a notebook with all the names of the men and women he's lost over the years. Now in the present, Eddie returns to Alamo. He's still alive, but with a pretty nasty gash down his stomach. Alamo immediately throws him back in the game, telling Eddie that there are a couple of girls that need a tune-up and he's heading down to Mexico. He'll also be going with one of Laurie's boys, too. Now while this is happening, Rue talks about her spiritual awakening with the burning bush. Lexi is busy writing while she's blabbering on, and when Rue talks about her current job with the DEA, Lexi scoffs at this and pushes her friend away, believing she's simply high on drugs. Rue then heads upstairs to Cass's apartment, where she's not answering. Now after the severed finger fiasco last time out, Cassie is not in a good state. Inside her apartment, Cassie rings Naz and he wants to do business and get his money. Unfortunately, between deleting her OnlyFans account and the network loath to pick her up as a genuine actress, she's a bit strapped for cash. Now Maddy also comes under fire for this too, and she's eventually let go from her secretary role. When Maddy finds out that Cass has deleted her OnlyFans account, she's understandably pissed and forces Cass to play by her rules. The only card left to play though is to head out with Dylan Reed. They go for a night out and Cassie winds up sleeping with him. After taking a picture together, Cass takes his phone while he's in the bathroom and sends a message out to all of his followers, with a new handle and claiming that Cassie is the best lay he's ever had. This tends to do the trick, and Cassie manages to secure over 100,000 subscribers in record time on her new account. However, when Maddy notices the severed finger sitting in a glass with water in the sink, she realises there's something else going on here. Well, it turns out Naz is getting impatient and wants his money sooner rather than later. In fact, he heads over and pays her a visit personally. His hired goon literally grabs her and chokeslams her through a glass table, like this is a WWE match, but he doesn't go in for the pin. Instead, Naz ties her up and then gives her 72 hours to help Nate, who's currently buried alive and getting up close and personal with a snake. And honestly, if anyone else has a fear of snakes like I do, that's a very difficult scene to watch. And Naz instructs Cass not to say anything to anyone, otherwise she's going to be in a world of pain. This is when Naz's goon puts a gun to the door, threatening to shoot Rue when she knocks on the door. Getting nowhere with Lexi, Rue speaks to Ali about her current drama involving Laurie and the DEA. She's doing one more run and determined to right the wrongs in her life, and this is something that Ali knows better than most, and she's also worried that her mum may be in danger. Now in the morning, the operation goes ahead. While the DEA focus on the drama with the ambulance and heading down to Mexico, Rue pays Laurie a visit to get into her safe. However, they obviously don't trust her and even threaten to cut her eyelids off too. They eventually keep her locked up in the bedroom after a night around a fire. When Maddy receives a call from Naz demanding $1 million, she asks Alamo for help with this. She also mentions how Rue had a big fight with Lexi, including ranting about Nazis and the DEA.
Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
The implication is that the pair have sex in the jacuzzi, but we don't actually see this. We cut away before any of this is shown. Either way, whether they slept together or not, Alamo does agree to give the money for her for the exchange. We soon learn that the whole thing is one big stick up. Alamo shoots Naz when he grabs the briefcase and kills him, while we find out that this bag doesn't have the money in after all. Solving this issue for Maddy means that she effectively owes him big time. Alamo is going to gain a larger cut of Maddy's profits, 20% to be precise. Alamo tells Maddy to wise up when she looks shocked over this, given he doesn't do anything for free. And obviously from the previous episode, we know that he doesn't trust any women, so this was perhaps always going to happen. They both watch on as Nate's coffin is brought up from underground. However, when the coffin is opened, we learn that Nate is already dead. He's been killed by that snake, so all of this was for nothing. Meanwhile, Faye decides to help Rue, knowing that Wayne is lusting for blood and wants to kill her. In the middle of the night, she frees her from the locked room she's kept in, and they creep downstairs to the safe. Once they get the safe open, Rue is shocked to find there's no money inside, but instead a whole bunch of ID cards for different girls, including Mackenzie. Faye starts to get angry, and in the end she calls out for Wayne, while Rue is caught in the middle of all this, seemingly caught red-handed. So Euphoria returns with a longer episode this week, and if anybody knows about religion and the damaging effects of drugs, it's Ali. This season has sorely lacked his influence, and in any other story, it would have been nice to see his tale and his background. In fact, it seems like the show has only kind of remembered that they used to do these backgrounds for all the characters since last week, but given the story we get with Ali, it's just plopped right in the penultimate episode before the finale, with no build-up, relevance, or drama involving his character, and it just feels completely left field, especially because he's not even part of the main drama with anyone else outside of Rue. Again, we have a number of characters that easily could have had backgrounds done here, especially the relevant players to this chapter. I mean, Naz, Faye, Wayne, or Laurie would have perhaps been much better options. For Rue though, visiting Ali was very much the Last Supper before diving headfirst into this messy situation. While there are big consequences for her actions, there's zero for Cassie outside of losing Nate. She deleted her OnlyFans and it took less than half an episode to get that back and a ton of subscribers again. There's zero consequences for deleting her account, but of course Naz's threats are the bigger deal here. To be fair, the guy is actually quite dumb when you stop to think about what he's doing. Nate had a big house and he easily could have been forced to sell to Naz. He also has a ton of items dotted around and his girlfriend is doing sex work. That's a stable flurry of income, and Naz could have just very easily tightened the screw and forced Cassie to work for him, paying off the never-ending interest. As for Nate, he's just here to be a punching bag. The show completely throws any and all character development out the window to make him the butt of the joke. Remember when he got trauma from Cal's tapes? Remember when there was potentially friction that could have happened between him and Cal after Nate called the cops on his dad? Any of this could have been a really fascinating angle to explore, but the show does none of that. And in the case of Cal, we saw him once, and he seems to be on talking terms with Nate, and since that appearance we've seen nothing from him. He hasn't even bothered to check in on his son while he's getting beaten by Naz and his goon. Now obviously they say you're only as smart as your writer, looking at you, Eric Kripke, after what you've done with the boys, and in the case of Sam Levinson, he's written everybody to be several brain cells below the average. Alexei babbling about the DEA to Maddy, who in turn thinks it's a good idea to bring it up to Alamo, is one such example of this. I mean, in what world would she do this, knowing how dangerous the guy is and apparently being Ruth's friend? I could go on, of course, but either way I guess we'll have to wait and see where this one goes next in the finale next week, but judging by what we've seen this season, yeah, I don't have much faith in it. But what about you guys? Do you have more faith than me? Have you been enjoying the drama this year? As always, let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.